Hey warriors, you're not weak. You're not lazy, you're useful, and that's the problem. The more you give, the more people take. The more you say, I'm fine, the more your boundaries disappear. And one day you wake up and realize no one respects you. They're just used to using you. Listen carefully. People test the kind. They push the quiet, and they exploit anyone they're not afraid to lose. This video is about the moment that stops, the moment you become dangerous to exploit. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose respect. Number 1. Emotional exhaustion is a power leak. Constant usefulness drains your authority faster than anything else. When you're always the one fixing problems, always the one showing up, always the one carrying the weight, you're leaking power every single day. Not because helping is wrong, but because you're doing it without any protection, without any limits, without any strategy. Your energy becomes predictable. People know exactly what they'll get from you. They know you'll handle it, they know you won't complain, and that predictability kills respect. Think about water. When it flows freely everywhere, it has no force. But when you channel it, when you control its direction, it can cut through stone. Your energy works the same way. Scattered and available to everyone, it's weak. Focused and controlled, it becomes unstoppable. Being emotionally available to everyone makes you controllable. When people know they can always reach you, always count on you, always pull from you, they stop seeing you as valuable. They see you as accessible, and accessible things are never treasured. I'm fine becomes your automatic response. Someone asks how you're doing and you say it without thinking. Even when you're exhausted, even when you're struggling, even when you're barely holding it together, that phrase becomes armor. But it's paper-thin armor that protects nothing. That constant I'm fine signals to everyone around you that you're willing to self-destruct silently. It tells them you won't make waves, you won't demand better, you won't push back. You'll just absorb everything and keep moving. Burnout isn't about workload. Real burnout comes from unreciprocated giving. It's the exhaustion of pouring yourself out for people who never pour back. It's carrying everyone while nobody notices you're struggling. Every time you give without receiving, you create an imbalance. That imbalance doesn't just drain you physically, it drains your authority. People stop asking what you need because they've learned you'll handle yourself. They stop reciprocating because the dynamic has never required it. Energy without control invites extraction. When you make yourself available without boundaries, you're putting up a sign that says, free energy here, and people will take. Not because they're bad, but because you've made it easy. Machiavelli once said, men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear. When people feel neither love nor fear in their treatment of you, when there's no appreciation and no consequence, you become invisible. Useful, but invisible. The moment you start controlling your energy output, everything shifts. When you become selective about where your effort goes, people notice. When you stop being available to everyone all the time, your value rises. Your emotional exhaustion isn't weakness, it's data. It's telling you that the current system isn't sustainable. It's telling you that giving without limits only creates takers without gratitude. Number 2, the nice person trap. Excessive kindness often hides a strategy you're not even aware of. Deep in your mind, there's an unconscious deal. If I give enough, they'll value me. If I'm helpful enough, they'll respect me. If I sacrifice enough, they'll finally see I matter. But you're the only one who agreed to that deal. The other person never signed this contract. They never promised to value you more because you gave more. They just learned that asking you for things works, so they keep asking. You think you're building credit. Every favor, every yes, every accommodation, in your mind you're creating a balance. You're thinking they'll remember, they'll appreciate it, they'll return it when you need them. But they don't, because in their mind, this is just who you are. The helpful one, the accommodating one. They're not keeping score because they don't see it as extraordinary, they see it as normal. This is why the nice person trap devastates. You're working from one set of rules while everyone else works from another. You're treating your kindness as currency while they're treating it as atmosphere. Respect cannot be negotiated through sacrifice. You can't earn it by proving how much you'll tolerate. You can't buy it by showing how much you'll give. Respect comes from clarity, from boundaries, from the understanding that your yes means something because your no exists. When you're nice to everyone without discrimination, your niceness loses meaning. People need to know that your kindness is a choice, not a guarantee. The unconscious approval strategy feels virtuous. You tell yourself you're just being good, just being helpful. But underneath, there's a hunger for validation, a need to be seen, a hope that all this giving will finally make you matter. And when it doesn't work, when people don't suddenly start treating you better, the resentment builds. You start feeling used. You start feeling taken advantage of. You start feeling bitter about the very kindness you chose to give. Unspoken contracts create silent resentment and public weakness. You resent them for not honoring a deal they don't know exists, and you appear weak because you keep accepting less than you deserve without ever saying anything. The way out is to give without expectation or stop giving until the dynamic is balanced. Real kindness expects nothing back. Strategic kindness that pretends to expect nothing creates poison in your mind. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. My worth needs no proof. Number 3, no boundaries, no consequences, no respect. People will test you, always. Not maliciously, not even consciously, but they will push to see where the line is. They'll ask for more than they should, they'll cross small boundaries, they'll see what they can get away with. This is human nature. We all test limits to understand the structure of our dynamics, and if there are no limits, we keep expanding. You set a boundary, you say, I can't do this, or this doesn't work for me, or I need you to stop that. And they hear you, they even agree, but then they do it again and you let it slide. Maybe you're trying to be understanding. Maybe you don't want conflict. Maybe you're hoping they'll respect your words without you having to enforce them. But they don't. Because without enforcement, boundaries are just suggestions, nice ideas, polite requests, not actual limits. When you set a boundary but never enforce it, you train people that your words are decorative. They learn that you'll say things but not back them up. They learn that pushing past your no eventually gets them to yes. And once they learn that, respect evaporates. Harmlessness is read as permission. When you're too flexible, too accommodating, too willing to give another chance, people interpret that as weakness. They see someone who won't push back, someone who's safe to exploit. Respect only exists where loss is possible. People respect you when they understand that violating your boundaries costs them something. Maybe it costs them your time, maybe it costs them your presence, maybe it costs them your help. But there has to be a cost. Without that cost, why would anyone respect your limits? If they can cross your boundaries and nothing changes, what's their motivation to stop? Boundaries are not explanations. They're not discussions. They're not 3-paragraph justifications. Boundaries are simple, clear lines. This is acceptable, that is not. Cross this line and here's what happens. Machiavelli once said, since love and fear can hardly exist together, if we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than loved. You don't need people to fear you, but they absolutely need to respect the consequences of their actions. Without consequences, words have no weight. You can repeat yourself forever. You can explain yourself in new ways, but until there's an actual consequence for crossing your boundary, nothing will change. The moment you enforce one real boundary, the moment you actually follow through with a consequence, people recalibrate completely. They realize you're not playing, they realize your limits are real, and suddenly everything changes. Your words start meaning something, your boundaries become solid, and respect emerges naturally. Number 4, the monster in the garden. Goodness without strength is not virtue. A good person is not a toothless person. Being kind, being compassionate, being gentle, these are only meaningful when they're choices. When you could do otherwise but choose not to. When you have the capacity for force but exercise restraint. If you can't be dangerous, then your kindness isn't a choice. It's just your only option. And people can sense that difference immediately. Not cruelty, not random violence, not hurting people for fun, but the real, genuine ability to make things difficult for someone if you needed to. The ability to push back, the ability to create consequences. This is what's missing in most people who get walked over. They've cultivated kindness so thoroughly that they've eliminated their own teeth. They're so committed to being good that they've made themselves harmless. and harmless people get exploited. Think about people you respect most. They're probably kind, probably generous, probably helpful. But there's something else there too. An edge, a sense that you wouldn't want to cross them. A quiet strength that says, I'm being nice by choice, not by weakness. That's the integrated shadow. That's the monster in the garden. Controlled, contained, but very much present. People sense when you cannot retaliate. They feel it energetically. When someone knows they can do anything to you, and you'll never push back, never walk away, never create a consequence, they unconsciously categorize you as safe to exploit. It's not a conscious decision on their part. It's survival instinct. Humans are wired to test for power dynamics. We push boundaries to understand social hierarchies, and if pushing someone reveals they have no capacity to push back, we file them under no threat. Power comes from contained aggression, not unleashed, not wild, not random, but present and controlled. Like a well-trained guard dog that's calm and friendly until you cross a line. You need to integrate your capacity for force. Acknowledge that you could walk away. You could say no and mean it. You could make someone's life harder if they continue disrespecting you. You have that power. The difference between you and a cruel person is that you choose not to use that power unnecessarily. You exercise restraint. But the restraint only matters if the power is real. A monster under control is safer and more respected than innocence. The innocent person gets preyed upon. The monster gets avoided. But the person who's clearly capable of force but chooses kindness, that person gets respected. This doesn't mean becoming aggressive. It means integrating the part of you that can stand firm, that can look someone in the eye and hold your ground, that can let someone experience the loss of your presence without guilt. When you become someone who's kind by choice rather than kind by limitation, people treat you completely differently. They value your kindness more because they understand it's not guaranteed. The moment you stop being harmless, you become powerful, not in a way that hurts anyone, but in a way that protects you. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I am not harmless. Number 5. Scarcity creates value. Constant availability destroys perceived worth. When you're always there, always accessible, always ready to help, you become like air. Essential, technically, but completely taken for granted. Think about gold. Why is gold valuable? It's not the most useful metal. Iron is more useful. But gold is rare. It's hard to find. It costs something to obtain. That scarcity creates value. Now think about water in the desert versus water from your tap. Same substance, completely different value. In the desert, people would trade fortunes for it. From your tap, you barely think about it. The difference? Scarcity. You are the tap water in most people's lives, always flowing, always available, always there when they need you. And they treat you accordingly, as something that requires no appreciation because it requires no effort to access. Scarcity rewires how people treat you. When you're not constantly available, when your time isn't free, when people have to actually consider whether you'll say yes, your value skyrockets in their perception. This isn't manipulation, it's basic psychology. Humans value what they have to work for. We chase what feels rare, we respect what costs us something. When you pull back, when you stop being the person who's always available, people's brains trigger a scarcity response. Wait, where did they go? Why aren't they available anymore? Suddenly, you're interesting again. This applies to your time, your attention, your energy, your help. The moment you stop giving these things freely to everyone, they become valuable. Gold versus air, that's the choice. Do you want to be essential but ignored, or rare and valued? Because you can't be both constantly available and highly valued. Human psychology doesn't work that way. Abundance is ignored, rarity is chased. When something is everywhere, we don't pursue it. When something is limited, we become interested. This is why limited edition items sell, why hard-to-get reservations become desirable. Pulling back is not weakness, it's leverage. When you stop being available all the time, you're not being mean. You're simply acknowledging that your time and energy are limited resources that should be invested wisely. Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." When you appear constantly available, people think you're desperate. When you appear selective with your time, people think you're valuable. The moment you start guarding your time like the precious resource it is, people automatically start treating it that way. You don't have to announce it. You just become less available, and people's perception shifts. What costs nothing is treated as nothing. Your time given freely is wasted time in their minds. Your help offered too quickly is help that's not appreciated. But make them wait sometimes. Make them wonder if you'll say yes. Make them realize your time isn't infinite, and watch how quickly they start valuing everything you do. Number 6. Silence, withdrawal, and non-reaction as power. The less you say, the more weight your words carry. Every time you explain yourself, you dilute your authority. Every justification is a crack in your foundation. Every defense is a signal that you're unsure of your ground. Real power doesn't explain, it states, it decides, it moves, and it trusts that its existence is explanation enough. Think about people who command rooms. They don't talk constantly. They don't justify every decision. When they speak, people listen because their words are rare. Why? Explaining weakens authority. When you explain, you're implicitly asking for approval. You're saying, here's why my decision is reasonable. Please agree with it. But authority doesn't ask for agreement, it informs. If you tell someone no and they ask why, your instinct is to explain, to give reasons, to make them understand. But the moment you start explaining, you've made your boundary negotiable. Now they can argue with your reasons, pick apart your logic, find exceptions. Justification signals insecurity. It says, I'm not entirely sure I have the right to set this boundary, so let me convince you it's okay. But you don't need permission to have boundaries. Watch what happens when you just say no and stop talking. Silence, awkwardness. They'll try to fill it. They'll ask why. They'll push. And if you stay silent, if you don't take the bait, something powerful happens. Silence forces others to fill the vacuum. When you don't respond to manipulation, to pressure, to guilt trips, people don't know what to do. They're used to wearing you down with words. But when you meet them with calm silence, there's nothing to push against. It's like punching air. All their energy goes nowhere, and eventually they stop pushing. Removing your energy shifts dominance instantly. When someone is used to your constant engagement and you suddenly just withdraw, no drama, no explanation, just quiet absence, the power dynamic flips. They realize they can't manipulate you with words anymore. They can't guilt you. They can't wear you down because you're not playing the game. Someone tries to bait you into an argument? Stay quiet. Someone expects you to defend yourself? Don't. Someone assumes you'll explain why you can't do something? Just say you can't and offer nothing else. The discomfort they feel in that silence, that's their control evaporating. Power speaks least. The strongest people in any room are often the quietest. Not because they have nothing to say, but because they understand that words lose value with overuse. They understand that silence carries more weight than explanation. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your boundaries. You don't owe anyone access to your reasoning. You don't owe anyone comfort with your decisions. Just state what is, then be silent, and watch how quickly people start respecting you. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. My silence speaks volumes. Number 7, emotional autonomy. Control of emotion is control of outcome. As long as someone can move you emotionally, they can control your behavior. As long as guilt works on you, you're controllable. As long as their anger makes you scramble, you're controllable. As long as their disappointment changes your choices, you're controllable. Emotional autonomy means ending the habit of managing others' emotions. You stop making yourself responsible for how they feel. You stop twisting yourself into uncomfortable shapes to keep them comfortable. You stop sacrificing your peace to maintain theirs. Here's what most people never realize. You can't actually control how anyone else feels. You can't make someone happy. You can't make someone not angry. You can only behave in ways that you hope will influence their emotions. And when you're doing that, you're not free. You're performing. People use emotions as tools. Guilt to make you give in. Anger to make you back down. Disappointment to make you try harder. And these tools only work if you let their emotions dictate your choices. There's a technique called gray rock. It's deceptively simple. Become emotionally uninteresting. When someone tries to provoke you, guilt you, or manipulate you, you give them nothing. No emotional reaction, no anger, no defensiveness, no tears, just boring, neutral, calm responses. Facts without feelings, politeness without warmth. Presence without engagement. And it's incredibly effective because manipulators feed on emotional reactions. They need you to get upset, to defend yourself, to feel guilty. When you refuse to give them that energy, when you stay completely neutral, they lose their power. You become a gray rock, uninteresting, unrewarding to manipulate, and eventually they move on. Why? Guilt only works on the self-betrayer. If you're living in integrity with yourself, if your boundaries are fair, if you're being honest, you have nothing to feel guilty about. The guilt someone tries to put on you can only stick if you already believe you're doing something wrong. But when you know you're honoring yourself, when you know your boundaries are reasonable, guilt becomes powerless. They can try to guilt you all they want, it just slides off. Machiavelli once said, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves." Emotional autonomy makes you both. Calm neutrality is psychological armor. When you're not reactive, people can't hook you. When you're not defensive, they can't wear you down. When you're not trying to prove anything, they have no leverage, you become smooth. Everything they throw at you just slides off. Their guilt trips don't land. Their anger doesn't move you. Their disappointment doesn't change you. This doesn't mean becoming cold. You can still be warm with people who deserve it. But you become selective. You become protective of your emotional energy. If they can't move you emotionally, they can't control you. Period. Number 8. Aggression is not violence. Let's clear up a massive misunderstanding. Aggression and violence are completely different. Aggression is forward momentum. It's the energy that pushes through resistance. It's the force that says, "This is my boundary and I'm enforcing it." It's drive with direction. Violence is chaos. It's destruction without purpose. It's harm for the sake of harming. You don't need violence, but you absolutely need aggression, because boundaries without firmness don't exist. A boundary whispered is a boundary ignored. When you set a limit, it needs to land with weight. Not anger, not cruelty, just unmistakable certainty. Think about effective people. When they say no, you don't question it. There's no confusion, no wondering if they might change their mind, just clarity. That's controlled aggression. Aggression as forward force, not chaos. Real aggression isn't loud, it isn't violent. It's the steady pressure of someone who knows exactly what they will and won't accept. Why boundaries require firmness to exist? A soft boundary is a suggestion, a firm boundary is a fact. If your no is tentative, people will test it. If your no is solid, they won't. The calm, unapologetic no is one of the most powerful tools in human interaction. No, I'm sorry, but no. I wish I could. No. Maybe next time. No. Just no. And when you say it without flinching, without apologizing, without explaining, people accept it because there's nothing to negotiate with. Stillness plus certainty equals intimidation. Not the scary kind, the respectable kind. When you're completely still, completely calm, completely certain, people instinctively recognize they're dealing with someone who can't be moved. Intimidation isn't about being scary, it's about being immovable. It's about people realizing that no amount of pressure will change your position. Soft words without steel mean nothing. You can be polite, you can be kind, you can speak gently, but underneath the politeness, there has to be steel. There has to be the understanding that if this boundary is crossed, there will be a consequence. That steel doesn't make you mean, it makes you solid. It makes you real. It makes you someone who can be trusted to actually mean what they say. The moment you learn to be firm without being loud, strong without being harsh, clear without being cruel, you become someone people can't exploit. Your boundaries become known. Your limits become respected. Not because you screamed them, but because you stated them with the kind of quiet certainty that can't be argued with. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. My no is final. Number 9. Identity shift from helper to architect. Your identity determines how people treat you. If you see yourself as a helper, someone who exists to support, to serve, to make other people's lives easier, then that's exactly how people will use you. Helpers are consumed, architects are consulted. What's the difference? A helper is reactive. They wait for problems. They respond to needs. They prove their value by being useful to others. An architect is proactive. They build, they create, they move with purpose. Their value is inherent, not earned through service. When you identify as a helper, you're constantly waiting to be needed, waiting to prove yourself, waiting to show that you matter by showing how much you can do for others. And people sense that need in you. They sense that you're trying to earn your place through usefulness, and they take advantage. But when you shift to an architect identity, everything changes. You're no longer waiting around to be useful. You're building something. You have a mission. You have direction. You have purpose that exists independent of anyone else's needs. Stop proving value. Assume it. This is the core shift. Instead of thinking, I need to help so people will value me, you think, I'm valuable, and sometimes I choose to help. See the difference? One is desperate, the other is generous. One is about earning, the other is about giving from overflow. Mission creates gravity. When you're focused on something bigger than just being helpful, when you're actively building towards something, when you have somewhere to be and something to do, people feel that energy. They sense that you're not desperate for their approval, that you're not waiting around to be needed, that you have momentum and direction, and that makes you magnetic. People chase those who move with purpose. They don't chase helpers, they use helpers. But people with missions, people who are building something, those people get respect. This doesn't mean you stop helping people. It means you help from a position of strength instead of desperation. You help because you choose to, not because you need to prove your worth. You help people who respect your time. You help in ways that align with your mission. You help when you have surplus energy, not by draining yourself dry. Builders are respected, servants are used. A builder creates value, a servant maintains things for others. A builder has vision, a servant has duties. A builder is irreplaceable, a servant is interchangeable. Which one are you presenting yourself as? Machiavelli once said, "The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present." What he meant is that circumstances change. You don't have to keep being the helper just because that's what people expect. You can break that pattern. You can rebuild your identity. When you shift from, "How can I help?" to, "This is what I'm building," people's entire perception of you changes. They stop seeing you as the go-to problem solver. They start seeing you as someone with their own path, someone with their own value, someone worth respecting. The helper waits by the phone. The architect is too busy building to always be available, and people respect the architect more. Number 10, becoming the villain by choice. Final lesson, the hardest truth. When you start setting boundaries, when you start saying no, when you start prioritizing yourself over their comfort, some people are going to call you selfish. Let them. Accepting being the villain in someone else's story is the final liberation. You can't control their narrative. You can't force them to understand. You can't make them see that you're not abandoning them. You're just done abandoning yourself. So stop trying. Accept that some people will paint you as the bad guy. Accept that they'll tell stories about how you changed. Accept that they'll be angry, hurt, or confused. Because their story about you is not your responsibility. Why? The selfish label frees you. As long as you're terrified of being called selfish, you can be controlled. As long as that word has power over you, people can use it to keep you in line. Don't be selfish, think about others. And you comply because you don't want to be that person. But here's the truth. Taking care of yourself is not selfish. Setting boundaries is not selfish. Refusing to be exploited is not selfish. And even if it were, so what? The moment you accept the label, the moment you say, "Fine, call me selfish if you want," that weapon loses all its power. Indifference is the final form of power, not hatred. Hatred means you still care. Not anger. Anger means they still affect you. But complete, calm indifference to their judgment, that's untouchable. When you genuinely don't care if they understand, Don't care if they approve. Don't care if they think you're the villain. You become free. Because you're indifferent, they can say whatever they want. You're still going to honor yourself. You're still going to keep your boundaries. You're still going to build your life on your terms. Walking away is the ultimate threat. The most powerful thing you can do is prove you're willing to lose them. Not in a dramatic way, not in an angry way, just in a calm, matter-of-fact way. This doesn't work for me anymore, I'm done. And then actually be done. No coming back, no reconsidering, no being guilt-tripped into another chance. Just done. That ability to walk away, really walk away, is the ultimate power because it proves you value yourself more than you value their approval. When you no longer fear judgment, control collapses. They can call you whatever they want, selfish, cold, changed, mean. None of it moves you. None of it changes your mind. None of it brings you back. And without that fear of judgment, they have no leverage. No guilt works, no manipulation lands, no pressure changes anything. You're just free. Free to build your life the way you want. Free to set the boundaries you need. Free to walk away from what doesn't serve you. Free to be misunderstood without needing to correct the record. The beautiful irony is that once you stop caring about being the villain, you often stop being one in reality because you're no longer operating from resentment or people-pleasing. You're operating from clarity, from self-respect, from genuine choice. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I honor myself first. So here's what happens when you apply all 10 lessons. You stop explaining yourself. Your choices need no justification. When someone pushes for reasons, you simply restate your boundary or stay silent. Your decisions exist because you made them, and that's enough. You stop apologizing for having needs, for having limits, for not being available, for prioritizing yourself, because none of those things require an apology. You move slower. You're not rushing to respond to every message, not jumping to help every time someone has a problem, not racing to prove your value. You move with intention, not reaction. You speak less. Your words become more valuable because they're rarer. When you talk, people listen because you don't waste their time with unnecessary chatter. You say what matters and nothing more. You observe more. You watch how people treat you. You notice patterns. You see who respects your boundaries and who tests them. You become strategic about where you invest your energy. And people notice. They stop taking you for granted. They stop assuming you'll always say yes. They stop treating your time like it's worthless. They stop pushing your boundaries because they've learned there are real consequences. People consult you instead of consuming you. They approach you with respect instead of entitlement. They value your input because they can't access it for free anymore. They treat you like someone who matters because you've shown them you believe you matter. You are no longer harmless, but you are controlled. You have teeth, but you choose when to show them. You have power, but you wield it with precision. You're capable of creating consequences, but you only do so when necessary. The moment you become capable of walking away, people stop testing how much they can take. They realize you're not desperate for their approval. You're not afraid of being alone. You're not willing to sacrifice yourself for their comfort, and that makes you dangerous to exploit. Here's the final truth straight from Machiavelli's world. No one can use you once you're no longer safe to exploit. You're not weak. You're not selfish. You're just done being everyone's free resource. And the moment you embrace that, everything changes. You become the kind of person people respect instead of use. The kind of person people value instead of drain. The kind of person people think twice before taking advantage of. Not because you're mean, not because you're cruel, but because you've demonstrated through consistent action that exploiting you comes with a cost they're not willing to pay. If this video resonated with you, hit that like button right now. Share this with someone who needs to hear these truths, and subscribe to this channel because we're diving deep into the uncomfortable realities that actually change lives. Remember, you're not here to be used, you're here to be respected.